Do you spend hours in your head thinking about something that happened, could have happened, or might happen? Do you ask others what to do so you don't make a mistake? Welcome to the Playing It Safe podcast. I am Dr. Z, your host. I am a clinical psychologist, an author, and a person that is super passionate about sharing with you science-based skills to overcome any type of fear-based struggles. Who doesn't experience fear? Who doesn't play it safe? In this show, we will discuss how fear-based reactions happen in day-to-day life, how playing it safe behaviors look like, sound like, and feel like, how you can put into action solid tips from behavioral science to get unstuck from worries, fears, obsessions, and anxieties, and how you can start doing what works, what matters, and what you care about. Behavioral science doesn't have to be boring. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. Hello everybody, this is Dr. Z and I am back with a super special episode. As you know, the name of the podcast is Playing It Safe, and a couple of you have asked me what's the story behind the name Playing It Safe. Playing It Safe is part of a large project that I am working on that is focused on understanding how, when we're dealing with anxiety, stress, worries, we respond to them, and how some of those responses keep us stuck or expand our lives. So I am holding on to the frame that all of us in our lives, we play it safe in one form, in one way, or in another way. But it is a natural thing to play it safe. And if we don't pay attention to how those playing it safe moves are working in our life, we keep ourselves stuck and spinning in a rabbit hole of worries, depression, sadness, and basically shrinking our life. Think about it. No matter what we do, we are going to experience fear, anxieties, worries, panic. It's not our fault. Fear-based reactions just happen. But instead of watching all those playing it safe moves from the sidelines, you actually can get to choose how to handle them, how to grow from them, how to manage them, and fundamentally, how to live your life. How do you do that? By figuring out your playing it safe profile. And that's why this is a super special episode, because today I want to share with you that I just published in the website the Playing It Safe Questionnaire. If you go to my website www.thisisdrz.com, again, the website is thisisdrz.com, and you scroll down the page, you will see a link to the Playing It Safe Questionnaire. The Playing It Safe Questionnaire is going to help you to figure out how you play it safe. What are the thinking patterns and the actions that you do that may be keeping you stuck? And think about it, spotting the different ways in which you play it safe. Sometimes privately in your head using thinking strategies, sometimes publicly by doing things that others can observe, gives you the freedom to be who you want to be. So if you want to figure out your playing it safe profile, again, go to the website, thisisdrz.com, scroll down the page, and then you are ready to take the questionnaire. If you have any questions about it, feel free to send me an email. I will be happy to get back to you. Now, let's move on to the episode. In episode 23, I introduced you to the idea of how values are understood within acceptance and commitment skills. You can go back and listen to this episode, but as a refresher, values are those qualities and life principles you want to live by, and we think of them as verbs because they're a pattern of ongoing actions. You're always working towards living your values. For example, it's very important for me to be present with others. So I can practice being present when I am cooking with my partner, chatting with my friends, hanging out with my parents, and so on. The value of being present is the quality that I want to embrace in every interaction I have with others. So no matter how many times I have been focusing on being present with others, I am always doing my best to be present in all the interactions that unfold through my day. That's why values within acceptance and commitment training are ongoing verbs, ongoing actions. And again, I welcome to listen to episode 23 for the detailed clarification of what values are so we can be on the same page. Now, here's the deal. You cannot live your values in the vacuum, but in every moment you are breathing and every moment you are alive. And you live your values by making choices every single moment of your day. Super cool, right? Think about it. Every single day you are making choices. From the moment you open your eyes to the moment you fell asleep. You choose what to wear, what to eat for breakfast, what to do when the alarm goes off, what to do for your morning routine, what to read, who to call or text, how to approach a task, how to connect with a friend, what music to listen to, and so many more choices. It's like we are making choices all over, non-stop. But if we step back, we can see that some choices are super important because they take us closer or farther away in a direction of being who we want to be. Choosing how to play your playing it safe actions, that's the core of living your values. So let me say this again, and sorry for the repetition, but it's human to minimize discomfort as soon as it shows up. It's human to try to get rid of anxiety as soon as we feel anxious. It's human to try to stop all our worries or solve our worries as soon as we notice them coming up. It is human to develop a pattern of actions or thinking strategies that are focused on reducing our emotional distress and minimize negative outcomes. That's what we're supposed to be doing. The challenge is that when we play it safe all the time and without looking at how it works in our day-to-day life, then we may be keeping ourselves stuck. So let me share with you some examples of how we all play it safe in our day-to-day life. Let's say that you have a very important job interview and you decide to drive to the site of the job interview a couple of days before the job interview. That's a playing it safe move. Let's say that you have to give a speech in a month and you are rehearsing your speech every single day. That's another example of another playing it safe move. Let's say that when you hear about the coronavirus, you feel very distressed. So to minimize your distress, you avoid watching news. That's another playing it safe strategy. Let's say that when you are working on your college applications, there is a thought about failing and being rejected and not having any college accepting you. And then in those moments, you start thinking positive of all your accomplishments. That's another playing it safe strategy. So there are many ways in which we play it safe. And again, those are regular things that we all do, every single human being. You do play it safe, I play it safe. The question again is how those playing it safe strategies work in our life. In all those examples that I shared, you are attempting to reduce the stress that comes with fearful-based activities, situations, or internal experiences. So let's pause for a moment and think about last week. Was there any moment on time in which you got anxious or stressed? And how did you handle that? Did you let the stress be there and focus on what was important to you? Or did you use any playing it safe strategy, whether using a thinking strategy or doing something to minimize the distress? No human being walks through life without playing it safe. We all do it. It's natural. And it's not the problem. The challenge again is how playing it safe actions work in our lives, how often we engage in them, and why we do them. And of course, let's keep in mind that our playing it safe moves may shift based on where we are, who we are with, what we are doing, and many other variables. So playing it safe actions are never static but dynamic. Because this episode is focused on choices, and in particular related to playing it safe moves, let's keep in mind that it's important to spot these important choices you make so you don't play it safe automatically. And one more thing. Even though it may feel very tedious to figure out your playing it safe profile or all the actions you take to minimize the stress, I want you to remember that without awareness, without being aware of how you respond to your fear-based reactions, there is no choice. You won't be able to make choices that expand your life. So something to keep in mind. Here are some tips for you to catch those important choices you need to make when having urges to play it safe. Here's the first one. When you are experiencing overwhelming fear-based emotions, that's a moment to pause and check what your choice is. It's a given that every time you do what is important to you, and you do that particular activity with all the caring you believe it deserves, of course you are going to experience a shade of fear-based emotions. Perhaps you will feel some fear about being a failure. Perhaps you're afraid of making mistakes, being an imposter, or dropping things. Some of these fears can feel like a gentle soaker. Other fears may feel like a mild storm. And still other times, those fear-based emotions can seem as loud as a thunderstorm. But every fear-based emotion you experience fuels you to act and demands that you think about something, say something, or do something. Because of that, you have to keep an eye on those fear-based emotions when they show up, since they can easily push you into playing it safe mode. Number 2, you need to pay attention when your mind gets hooked on ruling thoughts. Let's step back a little bit. In episode 26, Ruling Thoughts, I shared with you that one of our ways in which our minds make sense of all the stuff that comes our way is by creating ruling thoughts. If you listen to the episode, you may remember that ruling thoughts are usually thoughts that come with the words ought, should, must, always, either, or they may also come with strong preferences about how we want to be treated, how things should be. But what is important is that a ruling thought is usually inflexible and perhaps more resistant to change. So when you're moving through your day and your mind comes up with those ruling thoughts, that's another moment to step back and remember that you have a choice. Because going along with those ruling thoughts makes you a prisoner of your mind, and consequently makes you a prisoner of ineffective playing it safe actions. So you have to watch out for those ruling thoughts. Number 3, when you are in pain, whether that's mental agony or emotional distress, that's another moment of choice. Painful experiences naturally create an urgency to do what's necessary to numb and diminish the struggle. So if you notice in your day that you are experiencing some emotional distress or thinking fatigue, or you find your mind coming with a lot of thoughts, those are another moments to remember that you have a moment of choice in deciding how to respond to those experiences. So to recap, there are 3 states for you to pay attention to so you can live your values and make the choices that you need to make. Number 1, you need to pay attention when you're feeling fear-based emotions, any fear-based emotion. Number 2, you need to pay attention when your mind is coming up with a ruling thought. And number 3, you have to pay attention when you're feeling emotional pain or mental distress. Our behaviors, all behaviors, will always fight for survival. So every time you feel, again, an overwhelming fear-based emotion, a ruling thought, or you are in emotional distress, that usually means that there is a choice that you need to make. And hopefully, you will pause to check if that choice is consistent with your values and how you want to be in this world. So I hope you can keep this in mind as you move through your day making choices. And I really hope you complete the Playing It Safe questionnaire so you can figure out your Playing It Safe profile. You can figure out which Playing It Safe behaviors keep you stuck. And you can figure out what you need to change to stop playing small and start living your life. So again, the website is www.thisisdrz.com. Scroll down the page and you will have a link to the Playing It Safe questionnaire. I think that's all for today. If you have any questions or curiosities, please send me an email. You know that I always reply to every single email I receive, so don't get shy if you want to reach out. Or if you want to say hi, send me an email. I also welcome that. Have a good week and see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, I will very much appreciate it if you will subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. And if you're feeling extra generous, I welcome a review on Apple Podcasts. Show notes of this episode are in the website playingitsafe.zone. Make sure to subscribe to my newsletter so you can receive more tips to stop all types of unworkable playing it safe actions. See you soon!